Okay, so recently someone asked me whether I have considered using Azolla or duckweed for feeding my chickens to subsidize on the cost of feeding my chickens. And this is a question that I've answered before here, but I love to answer it because I have experienced this firsthand and I know the direct consequences of it. Yeah, and I see a lot of people outside there who want to try it, who want to start it. And I think it's really important that, you know, people understand how to deal with it, how to start with it, you know, what to do and what to avoid when it comes to trying to bring your cost of feed on the farm down. Now, we're going to be talking about poultry specifically, yeah? Because when it does come to other animals like goats, you guys can see I do have hay in the background, and this which is covered right here is a machine that I'm currently utilizing to literally break apart this hay into like powder so that I can bring the cost of my goat feed down. Yeah, so that's something I'm doing with the goats. But when it does come to chickens, people keep asking me about, you know, Azolla and duckweed. In case you're wondering what these are, Azolla and duckweed are like water weeds. They are weeds that literally grow on water, and they are very proteinous. They have loads and loads of proteins. And a lot of people utilize them to feed birds. Yeah, you can utilize them to feed birds. And they work actually really well. I've seen people using them to feed ducks, to feed chickens, and they work quite well when utilized. Yeah, they work really well. They have loads of proteins, they are very nutritious. But then, what is the practicality of using them when it does come to a poultry farm? Now guys, I personally haven't tried using waterweed or duckweed and Azolla, but I tried very many other alternatives, and the theory is all the same. Yeah, some of the alternatives I tried was doing black soldier flies. So black soldier flies are insects that lay eggs, and when they lay eggs, they develop maggots. And these maggots, which is the larva stage, as they grow up, they are very, very proteinous. So they feed on like waste, and they become very proteinous. You can like get them, harvest them, dry them, and then feed them to chickens. And people do it all over the world. Another thing that I've tried to do before is fodder. Fodder is when you get seeds of whatever crop or whatever cereal. Usually it's a cereal, and then you let them germinate. Sometimes, usually it's, you know, with just watering them. Yeah, you just give them water with moisture, they germinate, and when they reach a particular height, maybe a few days old, you know, feed them over to your animals. And they're also very, very nutritious, because in that young age, when they have just sprouted, they have loads and loads of proteins. They haven't developed like hard, you know, nutrients and hard matter inside them, hard fiber, so they are very, very nutritious. Yeah, and people use them a lot to not only do poultry, but also to do cattle, to do goats and sheep. Very nutritious. So those are two things that I personally tried out. I tried out doing the black soldier fly larvae. I went, did some training from somewhere. They gave me black soldier flies. I brought them over here. I started the entire system, you know, larve cages, getting them to mate, getting them to reproduce, and that entire cycle. And simultaneously, I also tried the, you know, the fodder. But in addition to that, I was also trying, you know, the supplemental feeding, where you get things from the environment. For example, right here, this garden that you're seeing right here is an alfalfa garden. Alfalfa is a protein which is actually quite nutritious. If you give it to chickens, they would love it. Yeah, so it would be a very good supplement when it does come to, you know, supplementing your animals. But then, where are its limitations? Yeah, why do I think that it's not worth trying out? And who the kind of person that I do recommend? Yeah, if you're telling me to use Azolla or duckweed, yeah, why do I think that it's a really terrible option? Guys, all these options I'm telling you are actually terrible options. Yeah, now there are a few circumstances for which they might actually be good options, but in most circumstances and for most people, they're going to be terrible options. Let me explain to you why I think they are really terrible options. Over here in one of my poultry houses, or just one of my chicken houses, that does about 2,500 birds, I feed my birds over 300 kilos of feed on average. Let's say 300 kilos of feed. Or let's say the entire farm, because usually when it does come to farming, everything makes sense with economies of scale. Yeah, the more animals you have to feed, the easier it is. Yeah, because your cost of production generally goes lower with more animals that you have to feed. So currently I'm using about 1 ton of feed a day. So let's average that, 1 ton of feed every day, yeah? And of that 1 ton of feed every day, about 200 kilos of the feed is like protein, yeah? So currently what I use for that is soya meal and sunflower cake, yeah? Those are my sources of protein, yeah? So if you're someone who wants to go into the alternative feeding methods, what you're going to be trying to do is to replace your soya meal in the feed with these other alternatives, yeah? And the alternatives are the duckweed, the azolla, the black soldier fly larvae, you know. That's what you're going to try to replace with them. Imagine I use 200 kilograms of soya and sunflower every day put together, yeah? Now, the reason I'm not being very specific is because different feed formulations, depending on the age of the birds, require different amounts. So I can't be very specific, yeah? So I use about 200 kilos. Where are you going to get 200 kilos of azolla every day? Where are you going to get 200 kilos of azolla every day? Where are you going to get 200 kilos of black soldier fly larvae every day? Tell me, in which world? Yeah, I tell you guys, I tried to do black soldier flies, yeah, and you know, I would get waste, all these kinds of things, and try to reproduce them. And even with my greatest efforts, I think I would harvest like maybe 3 or 4 kilos after like 2 weeks or something like that. 3 or 4 kilos, yeah? And even the biggest places, because I've been to big places where they like process black soldier flies like properly, yeah? Like you have an entire plant. Like my farm here is small. You find someone, they're doing like on, okay, maybe it's not small, but on like 2 acres. They're doing on 2 acres, and you know, they are harvesting black soldier flies on 2 acres, literally an entire plant, yeah? And even with that, they'll tell you that they're probably doing like 100 kilos a day. 100 kilos a day. I'm using 200 kilos a day with just, you know, 14,500 birds. I'm using over 200 kilos of protein a day. So first of all, it's just not sustainable, 100%. It's not sustainable, it doesn't make sense, you can't do it that way. That's why I think it just doesn't make sense, yeah? You're going to do your farm on a big scale, you're not going to have anywhere you're going to get those things. Secondly, if you decide to do azolla or duckweed, they have a lot of moisture. Most of the food that I give to my chickens is dry food, yeah? And dry food has a lot of advantages over wet food, yeah? Because number one, it's difficult for it to develop mold. If your food develops mold, it could easily cause diseases to your birds, like aspergillosis and things like that. So you want to avoid, you know, molds, yeah? So you want to give your birds dry food. Also, it's easier to maintain cleanliness, to prevent diseases from coming inside the chicken house if you're doing dry food. If you're going to be doing azolla naturally is wet, so you're going to have to first dry it. Once you dry it, its amount in terms of weight even decreases much further, because most of it is just going to disappear when you dry it, yeah? And then after that, you're going to crush it, yeah? So it becomes very difficult for you to formulate it, because now you have to test it and see how much protein does it have. And that's the other problem with like doing black soldier fly larvae. Because the other problem with black soldier fly larvae is that their protein content can vary from anything between like 30% and like 50% based on what you feed your larvae on, you know, the maggots on. If you're going to be feeding your maggots, for example, on pig dung and poultry dung, then they're going to have a lot of protein, yeah, because those things naturally have a lot of protein and nitrogen. If you're going to feed them on like cow dung, they're going to have way less protein. If you're going to feed them on like maize bran, they're going to have like moderate protein. If you're going to feed them on like vegetable waste, like tomatoes and things like that, you're going to have a bit less protein. So really, if you're going to be formulating your feed, for example, for me, when I'm feeding my chickens, the key thing and one of the most important things for me is the consistency, yeah? For example, this flock, this poultry house that you guys are seeing right here, yeah, it's the second youngest flock that we do have on the farm, and it's giving us about 94% in terms of average production. Now, I want to get this 94% every day based on the expectation, yeah. Now, if I can't get this 94% every day, then I mean, my math in terms of production and everything just doesn't make sense, yeah? And the only way I'm doing that is because I'm giving them consistent feed. The thing with chickens is that the moment you change the feed, if the rations and the proportions of the nutrients change, the egg laying percentages are going to change, yeah? So if today you're giving your black soldier fly larvae, then tomorrow you're going to give them, you know, tomatoes. Then the next day you're going to give them poultry waste because that's what you have available to you. Because the main reason you would go with those alternatives is because you're trying to save, yeah? So in your trying to save, you're going to give them different kinds of things. And then it's going to give you different amounts of proteins in your feed. That just complicates everything and stresses you out. And generally your farm and its productivity is going to decrease seriously, yeah? So it's because of that that I think it's a really, really terrible idea for you to try and use these alternative sources of feed. I'm telling you that because I've tried it out and it just didn't work. Yeah? The times I tried it out, it didn't work. And guys, I'll tell you something. Most of the big farmers don't use those methods. Yeah, the methods that we are talking about. Most big farmers don't use them, no. They use commercial feed like I am, and you try to find and bring your feed costs down using commercial feed, yeah? I mean, the main reason big farmers don't use those methods is because they just don't work, yeah? And it's not like, you know, people shouldn't be trying out and testing things, but I mean, if you're going to be trying out and testing things as a starter and a smaller farmer, you're going to be in trouble, big trouble, because you risk losing your money, yeah? So it's the bigger people who are making money and they have a lot of surplus money that can try out these things. So which kind of farmer can literally, you know, use Azolla and things like that? Someone who is keeping 5-10 chickens can use Azolla. Yeah, you can use Azolla if you're keeping 5, 10 chickens, 15 chickens. The moment you get to numbers of like 50 chickens, no, it doesn't make sense. So black soldier fly larvae, Azolla, you know, all these other things. If you have 5, 10, 15 chickens and you're keeping them like local birds, well done. But any number beyond that, I don't advise. I completely do not advise, because it's just not going to work out for you and it's going to stress you. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another one. Lots of love. Bye-bye.